to discuss that very statement as well as the broader issue of how to end this government shutdown. Right. Thank you for joining us, Congressman.
Thanks so much for having me.
And first of all, right off the bat, how would you respond to Mr. DeMaio's comments that members of Congress should not get paid while this mess is going on?
Well, I agree. Actually, it's interesting because I ran on that platform in 2012. The concept is no budget, no pay, and it's not just borrowing the money. It's if you don't pass a budget, Congress shouldn't get paid, and you shouldn't get paid for all those days that you don't have a budget. I'm taking it one step further in the context of the shutdown and the sequester, with respect to the sequester, which are these 8% across the board budget cuts. Mm-hmm. I've sequestered my own pay, and I'm donating it to needy seniors. And during the time of the shutdown, I think it's only appropriate that I don't take my pay or donate that money back to charity as well.
You can't speak for others, but why doesn't everybody in the U.S. Congress do that?
Well, I can only speak for me. I just think that there's generally a sense, I think it's very prevailing, that Congress should live by the rules that it passes for everybody else. I think that's right. And I think in this case, if the government shut down and people aren't getting paid, which is a horrible situation, the least we could do is live by the same pain. And maybe that will help remind us what other people are going through.
When it comes to this so-called default, are we really going to default in two days if a budget doesn't get passed? Knowing what you do about the mechanics of how the federal government works.
Yes, I mean the problem is, and this is a very serious thing. There's two issues. One is the shutdown. We have to continue funding for the government. The easiest way to do that would be to put something on the floor, let the House vote on it. We've all been asking, a lot of us have been asking for that. I joined 199 Democrats. Just put it on the floor and let us vote for it. Let's talk about the serious debt issues that we have, but there's no reason to shut the government down to have to do that. But the debt ceiling is a real problem, and it really is, it's misnamed because it has nothing to do with managing the debt. What it's like is getting the American Express bill and deciding at that point, I spent too much money, I'm not going to pay. Obviously, what that duty would do to your family credit is very much like what the United States faces. So we've got to get past this. There's no reason not to pay our debts. We shouldn't give anyone the slightest thought that the United States would not stand behind its full faith and credit, not pay every debt that we've incurred. We've got to get that behind us. And let's get on to the job we were elected to do or appointed to do, which is to sit down and create a budget for America that gets rid of wasteful spending and makes the investments that we need in the 21st century.
Congressman Peters, I want to ask you a question about this Tuesday. There's going to be a very large protest in Washington by veterans who are very concerned about how this shutdown is affecting their benefits. And I am hearing that towards the end of the month, if this shutdown isn't resolved by then, that benefits, VA benefits, disability benefits could be halted.
Right, and that has to do with the debt ceiling. And so this is really an appalling situation. So I'm very much for let's take a vote, let's get these issues behind us. Let's not play politics with these kinds of things, the things that we owe, and particularly to our veterans, but also, we're having a large amount of effect on the economy and on jobs. So Bloomberg today reported that the cost of the shutdown to the economy so far, just in 10 days, $1.6 billion in economic output. That's people's lives, that's people's jobs. I spoke today, I just get to spend one day in San Diego back in the district. I spoke today to someone who works at Scripps Research. He says two of their top scientists have left the country and gone somewhere else to do their research in other countries because of the sequester and the uncertainties about funding, because Congress isn't doing its job. So I'm getting back on the plane tomorrow. I'd like to get off the plane and see that we have a solution and make sure that we open this government and do the job the way we should be.
Who needs to approve a census vote, the likes of which you're describing?
Well, right in the House of Representatives, it's basically the Speaker of the House who decides what comes before us.
Got it.
So we know we have 199 Republicans or Democrats who've signed a petition actually to bring this before us. But you hear that there are 20 or 25 Republicans who would sign a clean continuing resolution that would fund the government, reopen it. But those people aren't able to get that on the floor. So what we need is to make sure that we get the opportunity to vote, as you would expect. When I was a city council president, I may not have agreed with everything that came before the council. I wouldn't think of holding something up and not letting the council vote on it, but that's what's happening here. So,
I know you don't have a crystal ball, but this is the last question. Do you think there might be any resolution in the next week?
Oh, we have to come to our senses before this debt ceiling in particular, and this just doesn't make any sense. We're hurting the economy over this politics. We should open the government, pay our debts, and then get on to the business of creating a budget that that makes sense for America.
Have you taken any heat for coming home this weekend?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'll tell you, we knew that nothing was going to happen today. I really am concerned about too many people in Washington who stay there too much and lose contact with what's happening in the rest of the country.
Right.
I don't want to be one of those people. So just even having one day here has been great to talk to people.
Representative Scott Peters, thanks for being with us in the KUSI-TV 6. All right. Safe travels back to the Capitol. Lady